Hey everybody, good evening. Here's a game I was hoping to not see ever again, and yet here we are. Saigan Cat here. We're continuing with the Nier Let's Play after the wonderful palate cleanser that was Lord of the Rings, the Third Age. A very pure, very well made turn-based RPG that focuses on what RPGs do well. In many ways, it is the antithesis of this piece of trash. Yeah, Mary's getting his wish because my online waifu went and whined at my IRL waifu, and Perry guilted me into it. So, y'all owe Perry a great big debt of gratitude. Depending on how you feel about it, either you owe Perry a debt of gratitude because, yay, you're getting more of your shitty game, or boo, why on earth did you convince him to continue with this garbage? Guess which camp I'm in? Also, Perry's just happy that she can still convince me to do anything. Nope Gaming, hello, Almost Ray, Abyss, good evening, one and all, Twitch and YouTube. We're moving into New Game Plus. On what has been one of my least favorite gaming experiences in the last 6 years. But that's okay, because I am 3 glasses into this brand new bottle of whiskey I have found.
Whenever I interacted with Kaine,
Boy, it does really just skip right ahead, doesn't it?
maybe my mind has been confusing her with my sister this whole time. Here we go.
Oh my god, have we moved right back into visual novel land? Mary promised me there would be no more of this shit. Which one was the worst? I'll give you a hint. It was actually a Dragon Quest game. If you can believe that. Okay, let me get into Yoko Taro's mindset. The sound of rain filled the village. The steep cliffs that surrounded the area magnified sound, causing even the slightest drizzle to rattle like a thunderstorm. Thin wisps of smoke streamed from huts as the villagers huddled in their homes and waited out the rain. A single child, however, had braved the downpour and was now wandering slowly toward the wooden hawk-shaped weather vane at the center of town. The wanderer reached the vein, which had existed for as long as any could remember, and stared. The child's face was simultaneously delicate and fierce, like a teacup that had survived a shipwreck. Those traits combined with pale white skin to give the face an almost sexless quality. If the beak turns east, I go home. If it stays west, then I... The child blinked, rain slowly dipping down the young one's short hair. So Perry's laughing at me. It's totally bringing me out of character. Rain slowly dripped down the young one's short hair and began its long descent to the ground. Come on. Come on. The child felt a slight breeze and watched as the vein slowly creaked to life. Car! Spinning this way and that for a moment, it finally settled with the beak pointing firmly toward the east. East? Really? Before the vein could move again, a jagged rock came spinning and tumbling through the air, finally striking home against the child's head. The force of the blow dropped the child to the ground as a hail of stones began to fall all around. Oh no, they found me. A heartbreaking smile crept across the child's face as the stones continued their assault. Through the rain, the sound of multiple footsteps grew louder before a voice rang out. Yoo-hoo, Kaine. The voice belonged to Demo, worst of all the bullies in the area. As Kaine struggled to stand, a final stone came skittering through the mud and bounced against her foot. Blood oozed from a cut above her eye and blurred her vision, but she could make out the shapes of Demo and his usual gang of idiots. The boy seemed taken aback for a moment by Kaine's seeming indifference to the blood dripping from her face, but quickly regained his bravado. What's up, freak? You like the rain? You like getting all wet? Or did you finally decide to run away from home? Though she knew it was futile, Kaine turned to leave. Before she could get more than a few steps, the other children scrambled to surround her, cruelty burning in their eyes. Kaine knew those were not the only eyes on her. The tormentor's parents watched from the safety of their homes. She was attuned to this sensation. It was one she had experienced many times before. While some... Oh, no, actually not the Dragon Quest II marathon. I'm interrupting story time again, because I will take any escape from this game that I can. No, Dragon Quest II Marathon actually gave me... I left the Dragon Quest II Marathon with a more positive view of Dragon Quest II than I actually went in on it with. So, try again. It's a spin-off. I'll give you a hint. It's a spin-off, Abyss. Also, Orbo, what's up? Where were we? Hang on, I have to drink some whiskey. Anything to... Will I do any Monster Hunter? I'm honestly not really enjoying Monster Hunter World. Like, on paper, everything about it is awesome. Kaine is not waifu. Kaine is terrible. Kaine is a very shallow character, and even Yoko Taro explained that Kaine's character, he made her that way because he doesn't like how girls are typically portrayed in video games, and yet he has Yona there, and then he has Kaine, who's dressed super sexily, and then she's a total bitch because it's opposite to what his expectations of women are in video games, and that's retarded. And that's all that there is to say about it. I thought we were done with Nier 2, Thalkos, but Mary, my online waifu, complained to Perry, my IRL waifu, and Perry whined at me, and now I'm, yeah.
I did not whine at
You didn't whine at me? No? What was it then? What kind of noise was it?
the voice of reason.
The voice of reason? The shrill voice of guilt?
Maybe a little bit of voice of guilt.
Alright. Okay. Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate was really good. I really liked 4. Like, 4 Ultimate really felt like the high point of the series to me. I never played Gen, though, so I can't judge on that one. Alright. Okay, for real, though. While some villagers simply turned a blind eye to the actions of their children, many encouraged it openly. In a society ruled by superstition and fear, Kaine was something to be hated, and if possible, destroyed. I didn't say you could leave, freak. Demo's words chewed at her like a worm through an apple. He can't hurt me, she lied to herself. Be strong. Be brave. He can't hurt me. He can't hurt me. He can't hurt... Oh, look. The little freak is gonna cry. What's wrong? Are you sad that everyone hates you and wants you dead? Kaine prayed for the rain to flood down and carry her away from a world that seemed to have no place for her. But if there were gods, they chose to ignore her. As Demo crept ever closer, the clouds began to thin, and the rain slowed. Even the weather hates me. I'm useless. A failure. I wish Demo's rock had taken my head off. Kaine couldn't meet Demo's leering gaze. She lowered her eyes and stared at the muddy ground below. The bully moved forward until he was inches away. She could smell the scent of old meat on his breath. The boy grabbed Kaine's face with thick fingers and yanked it upward. She tried to turn away, but he forced her gaze back and jammed his thumb against her eyelid to pry it open. You're a freak. No, I'm not. Did you just say no? Demo grinned evilly. You don't say no to me. No one says no to me. Not even taking his attention from Kaine, he called to his cohorts. Come on, guys. Let's give the freak what she deserves. As soon as Demo finished, kicks and blows began to rain down upon Kaine. Demo paused, still grinning, as Kaine curled into a ball and tried to make the pain stop. I don't get you, freak. What you acting like a girl for, huh? Everyone knows what you really are. Kaine ignored the question, choosing instead to stare at the weather vane. It continued to point east, as if supremely confident about the future it had chosen for her. Go home? Yeah, that's a funny joke for someone with dead parents and no home to go to. Freak, chanted the children. Freak, freak, freak. Kaine closed her eyes and listened to the rain, waiting for the pain to start again. As the clutching hands of the village children closed around her, she bent her mind to the sound of the rain, letting it become her world entire. The rain fell, but the pain never came. Only when the laughter of her tormentors turned to terrified cries did she dare open a single blood-caked eye. Kaine was shocked to see Demo sprawled on the ground, holding his head and screaming in pain. She could see blood welling from spaces between his fat, twisted fingers. Oh my God. He's crying. He's actually crying. Deprived of their leader, the other children glanced back and forth between themselves, as if waiting for someone to step forward and take charge. When no savior emerged, they began an uneasy shuffle away from Kaine. But the young girl was the least of their concerns. Instead, their attention was rapt on the ancient woman standing a few feet away. After struggling for breath for a moment, she finally spoke in a thick voice with rage. Voice thick with rage. I can't read because this is my fourth glass of whiskey. Hurts like a bitch, don't it? Now I suggest you scatter before I throw another one. She's a pirate. I don't know why. And if any of you little bastards ever touch my Kaine again, I'll do far worse than throw a rock. You can count on it. Hey, King Madman, this is Nier. It thinks it's a game. I don't think it is. I would disagree with that sentiment. The old woman crouched down and gently touched the hand Demo was using to cover the wound. Before he could think to protest. Before he could think to... Perry's like, this is how we save money. It's because they couldn't afford to make a fucking game. Before he could think to protest, she ground her palm into the wound and twisted back and forth. Ow! He screamed, leaping to his feet. Stop it! What are you doing? Quit whining! Ain't no one ever died from a scratch. I don't know why I made her a pirate. I'm sorry. I had to do something to get through this game, and whiskey's the solution for that. You hit me with a rock, you stupid bitch! A big one! The thing could have killed me! The old woman shrugged. Death is the best cure for stupid! Demo's face twisted with rage at her words. Locking his eyes on Kaine, he took a step backward and spat on the ground. Get out! Leave this village! No one wants you here! Either of you! Seeing the old woman grab another stone, Demo and his companions turned tail and ran. As they fled, the old woman grabbed her side and barked out a single laugh. Yar har! Look at the fat boy go! Guess he's healthy enough to run from a fight! You're distracting me. Don't look at me.
I'm gonna look at you.
The woman's smile faded as she turned her attention to Kaine. Kneeling down, she removed her shawl and placed it around the young girl's shoulders, then produced a cloth from the folds of her dress and began blotting at the blood on her forehead. Ah, Kaine, she said. Why didn't you fight back? You're stronger than that lot. The words of her grandmother stung Kaine, and she turned away. Don't be nice to me, she said. I don't deserve it. Nothing matters anymore. Her tears, held in check for so long, finally began to fall on the muddy ground below. Everyone hates me. They think I cause bad things to happen. They think I'm a freak. I wish I was dead. As Kaine's tears turned to sobs, she felt her grandmother's hands on her shoulders. Despite her advanced age and diminutive size, she was a woman of surprising strength, and Kaine found herself unable to turn away. Don't ye talk like that, Kaine! It's a river wide and deep that flows between the realms of this world and the next, and it grants no mercy to any attempt the crossing. You got a duty to fight until your last breath. Understand? The old woman tightened her grip and tried to still the tremor in her voice. You know the pain of losing someone close to you, Kaine. You know because you survived it. As the words hit home, Kaine was struck by the force of her love for the old woman. As a young child, she didn't even know of her grandmother. But when her parents died, the woman quickly accepted her as her own. Grandma, as Kaine called her, was cunning, vulgar, and quick to violence, and their first few years together had not been easy. Why is the old woman Scottish? I was aiming for pirate, and I don't know why. Is it sounding Scottish? When does the game part begin? Fucking right? That is the problem I've had with half of this game. When does the game begin? And then it teases you with some actual good game design. There's good game design in here. Unfortunately, it gets covered up in this flood of crap that Yoko Taro thinks passes for a game and a story. But with each year that passed, Kaine and her grandmother had grown closer. However, it was only now, sitting in the mud with tears and blood caking her face, that Kaine truly understood the depths of her affection. Here was a woman who had seen hard times, who had seen death, who had fought through all these things and somehow emerged on the other side. Is this even a game or is it a commentary? I don't know! This is Nier! This is supposed to be a cult classic. This is supposed to be a great game. This is the game that Nier Automata was like fucking Game of the Year the last couple of years. And it came from this, and I have no faith in Nier Automata. I have no faith in critics at this point. I don't understand why there's a fan base for this. I don't get it. I don't understand. We get to make Mary play FF7 completely, right? No. Because FF7, for all of its flaws, is trying to be a game. I feel like I'm trying to listen to a very non-interesting anime novel. Imagine what it's like to be pressing the X button right now then, because that's worse. Hey, you guys get my quality voice acting to improve it. I spilled whiskey on myself. Fuck. Tonight, by the way, I am drinking the Axe Oak Distillery bourbon whiskey This is actually made here in Colorado Springs. This is batch 33, bottle 218 of 1000. And it was bottled to the music of The Who. Yes, Almas Ray, quality voice acting. It's better than this game deserves, all right? Do I play Call of Duty or Cock? I don't know what Cock is. I know what cocks are, but I don't know what Cock the game is. No, I don't play Call of Duty. I haven't played Call of Duty since 2. 3 was... I never really played 3, so I can't qualify it. And then Modern Warfare, I think, was one of the worst things to ever happen to the first-person shooter genre. Where was I? Kinda just got beat up, and then an old woman threw some rocks at a kid. Here was a woman who had seen hard times, who had seen death, who had fought through all these things, and somehow emerged on the other side. If anyone could understand Kaine's pain and loneliness, it was her. Do I make you sick, Grandma? Course not! Don't be an ass! Kaine drew her grandmother's moth-eaten shawl around her body and shuddered. But my body, it's not normal. If I was normal, then Mom and Dad wouldn't... Hush! Interrupted Grandma. I'll not hear another word of this nonsense. You're my granddaughter, and I love you. If folks have a fucking problem with that, they can just go to hell. With that, the old woman reached out and placed a wreath of dried flowers in Kaine's hair. The skill it took to bend the flowers without breaking the stems or losing a single petal was remarkable, and the beauty of it made Kaine want to cry all over again. Oh my gosh, these are lunar tears. They're the fucking flowers that they keep talking about and don't seem to actually mean anything. Grandma, you made this for me. Clash of Clans? No, I don't play Clash of Clans. There have been very few mobile games that I've gotten into. The Skullgirls mobile game was okay, but I'm a fucking fangirl for Skullgirls, and I'll shill that series until I die. And then I also really liked the King of Fighters 98 online game. I've been trying to get into Elder Scrolls Legends. It's better than Hearthstone, but I've been spoiled by games like Magic the Gathering and Netrunner, and even the Pokemon TCG is a hell of a lot better. I feel like that time I went to the mall with my two friends, and there was a Barnes & Noble, and one of my friends decided to pick up 50 Shades of Grey and read it out loud. I would rather be doing an audiobook recording of 50 Shades of Grey than playing this game right now. Is it better than Yu-Gi-Oh? I never really got into Yu-Gi-Oh. I think that Yu-Gi-Oh actually does have more depth, though, based on like the 2 hours of Yu-Gi-Oh that I've played versus the 4 hours of Elder Scrolls Legends that I've played. Feels like Yu-Gi-Oh had more. Am I playing on Xbox or PlayStation? This is on the PlayStation 3. Oh my gosh, those are lunar tears. Grandma, you made this for me. Lunar tears were legendary flowers. What? Most people could live their entire lives without ever seeing one, yet her grandmother had somehow collected a dozen or more. Kaine reached up and touched the wreath as she couldn't believe it was real. Where did you find these? Mary, you're a fucking liar. You said there was no more visual novel bullshit in this. This isn't even visual novel. I could have gotten this as a book, and I would have put it down already because it's terrible. Oh, just stumbled on him one day while I was out doing the shopping. The old woman turned away as she was explaining, leading Kaine to suspect that the search had been much more difficult than she was letting on. The pains she took to construct the ornament, let alone track down the flowers used in its construction, made Kaine's heart hurt. She reached up and gently adjusted the wreath, admiring the way it felt between her fingers. Didn't quite turn out right, said her grandma as she squinted on it. These old hands have trouble with delicate work, but it sure looks good on a pretty girl like you. Kaine blushed and turned away. You think I'm pretty? Course you are. What a fool thing to say. Thank you, Grandma. Her grandmother smiled. We're going to be fine, you and me, she said. Long as we got each other, we'll be just fine. Kaine took her grandmother's hand in hers, and the two of them struggled to their feet. As they began the long walk home, Kaine gripped the hand with all her might, as if trying to stop smoke from drifting away on the wind. The rain had stopped. Kaine stood beneath the weather vane, watching it spin in lazy circles, no longer caring about the direction it faced when it stopped. I don't need to escape. I have a home now. Grandma loves me, and that's enough. Even if it's us against the world. Kaine let her gaze drift up past the vane and into the cloudy sky. The last faint hints of rainbow were slowly fading. She turned and headed for home. The light scattered into a million particles and vanished, seemingly taken away on the breeze. Ah, we're done! Yes! God damn it! Stop! This is your fault. This is your fault. I am gonna spill my whiskey. Like, I'm so mad. God damn it. That's so much work to get through. I want to do anything else. Anything else. I'll play Darkened Sky instead of this. Let me play Darkened Sky instead of this.
Just hurry up and finish it.
It's a Skittles sponsored RPG, and it's better than this.
Skittles is amazing.
The candy, yes. Their video game development team, no. Ah.
In the distance.
Okay, I'll get it. No, you're supposed to be doing homework. You go do your homework.
I'm just leading you in.
Hang on, let me finish this glass. Mary, I know you're watching this on YouTube later as a VOD. You're not here in chat right now. Our marriage is over. Okay? It's done. Because you said there was no more of this. You said this was done. And you are a liar, sir. And I don't need that in my life. In the distance, Kaine heard the steady sounds of an axe striking wood. The noise had purposeful quality to it, as if she was hearing a master woodsman go about his work. The firewood being produced, however, was far from a work of art as it could be. Pieces of every shape and size were being flung about a barren yard with wild abandon, because it's fucking firewood! Who cares? Anyone trying to stack such wood would probably die of frustration before the job was through. What? How are they fucking stacking their firewood? Do they not know how? You split the log a couple of times, you throw it on a stack, it works fine, it's easy. Stupid piece of shit axe, stupid piece of shit game. Kaine's grandmother flailed away with the axe, filling the air with both splinters and woods and words, and would make the most hardened sailor blush. Grandma, called Kaine. What? Yelled the old woman, taking her eyes off the wood for a moment. Oh, it's you, Kaine. Don't get too close, or I might take your goddamn foot off by mistake. Because you should sharpen your fucking axe. There's nothing more dangerous than a dull tool. Shh, woman? Perry just called me a dull tool. She brought the axe down on a piece of wood, sending chips flying in every direction. One spun past Kaine close enough for her to hear the whistle, at which point she decided to step back. Once she'd scuttled to a safe distance, she cupped her hands around her mouth and shouted, "Grandma!" Do you need help? I can get you water or lunch or a new axe or something. The axe poised to strike another wobbly blow paused in midair. The old woman considered her granddaughter's offer for a moment, then smiled. Tell you what, since I'm doing such a piss poor job of making a fucking game, why don't you come here and take over so I can go get the water? I'm glad everybody's enjoying this except for me. Shades have been restless lately, you know, and I don't want you running into one of them bastards. Relinquishing the axe, her grandmother picked up a long pole with wooden buckets on either end. Gathering water was by far the most interesting thing that has been talked about since I started this stream. Oh God, it's only been half an hour. Pole with wooden buckets on either end. Gathering water was by far the more difficult of the two jobs, but Kaine knew better than to complain. Once Grandma's mind was set, there was no changing it. Kaine did her best to help with chores, but Grandma took every task that required travel to the village. Though she had a long list of plausible excuses, Kaine knew the real reason. Her grandma was getting plowed hard by every man in the village. She didn't want her granddaughter to be taunted and harassed by the villagers. Once Kaine moved in, the grandma decided to take up residence in a good distance from the area. Out of sight, out of mind seemed to be the best policy. I don't fucking care how it's pronounced. It is airy. When it came to the villagers and her granddaughter, the rare were the days when any but the two of them could be found on the rocky acre of land they called home. Me too, Almas. I don't know if I'm going to get through this. Kaine enjoyed the solitude, but harbored a secret resentment that her grandmother was forced to spend her golden years in such a place. After watching her grandmother leave, Kaine turned her attention to the task at hand. She had never chopped wood before in her life and soon discovered why the old woman hated the chore. Swing after swing of the axe produced only a tiny crack in the wood because you need to sharpen your fucking axe. And also, you're probably hitting the wood with the axe instead of getting the wood onto the axe and then bringing the wood up with the axe and then bringing it down. The axe itself acts as a wedge. Not enough fucking people know how to chop wood these days. The tool embedded itself in the log and refused to budge. That's perfect. That's what you want. You want to pull up the log with the axe and then bring it down like a hammer, and then the axe acts as a wedge and splits it. And then you turn the axe slightly at the end so that it doesn't hit the blade against. I feel like I'm going to suffer a stroke, Firewolf. This must be what a stroke feels like. Congratulations, Nier. That is the best review I can give you. Playing this game feels like I'm having a stroke. Kaine swung the axe around her head and threw it log and all across the yard. Damn it, ah, crap. She suddenly understood the joy her grandmother felt in a good curse. Happier now, she picked up the axe. Oh, is this our deep backstory for why she's cursing all the time? Do I smell toast? We're going through some first aid steps now on stream chat. Happier now, she picked up the axe, forced it from the wood, and resumed chopping. She had natural skill with a blade. But the task was a blade. Bring up the wedge, bring down the wedge. Boom! Your sword skill has leveled up. But the task was challenging, and blisters soon began to form on her small pink hands. Because you're not using the weight of the axe because you're shit at this. Just like Yoko Taro is shit at writing. This is tough, and my logs are all weird sizes. You don't aim for even size. Oh my god. Spitting on her palms and ignoring the pain, Kaine redoubled her efforts. That's just going to make the blisters worse, sweetheart. Just as she was developing a rhythm, Grandma returned from the village, setting down her buckets with a small sigh. She took one look at the logs and coughed out a wheezy laugh. Pretty clumsy girl, you better practice if you. Her grandma suddenly collapsed to her knees, causing one of the buckets to wobble precariously. Eyes wide, Kaine dropped the axe and ran to her grandmother's side. Grandma! The old woman shook her head and pointed a trembling finger at the bucket. The fucking water killed me! Get the bucket. Can't let it spill. Kaine steadied the bucket with a foot and she knelt by her grandmother. A small bit of water splashed over the side and made a new home in the hem of her dress. But Kaine didn't notice the small cabin that the water was slowly, carefully building, expecting years and years of fond memories with little water children. I need to pour myself another glass of whiskey. I'm not sorry, guys. I was guilted into this. By Perry.
I'm not sorry either.
She's not sorry. You heard it here first. She's not sorry. She
I'm actually enjoying
is enjoying herself. I hope you all at home are enjoying yourselves. Because I was thinking that at the very worst, I would be playing a bad game tonight, not reading a bad book.
I wonder if Mary did this on purpose.
Oh, I think Mary did do this on purpose.
Mary knows how
I'm so mad at Mary right now.
is laughing to himself.
I'm so mad at Mary right now. I'm going to log back into Dragon Quest 10 to find out how I can divorce him.
That's the only reason, eh?
That's the only reason. I'm going to subscribe for a month so I can divorce his ass. Grandma, what's happening? Crazed with panic, she grabbed her grandma by the shoulders and shook, because that's what you do when your grandma's dying. After a moment, the woman lifted her arms and batted Kaine away. Stop that. Just stop now, she cried, breathing heavily. It ain't like I'm dying. I'm just old and my heart is stopping. My lungs are giving in from the hate. Just tired from the trip is all. Kaine desperately wanted to believe her, but I just fucking hit myself in the head with a PlayStation 3 controller. It hurt less than this. It hurt less than this game. Right? There are speedruns of RPGs that are faster than this bullshit. You could have beaten Skyrim. I know for a fact that there are Morrowind speedruns faster than this bullshit. Kaine desperately wanted to believe her, but one look at the old woman's shaking hands and warm face told her more than words ever could. Are fans of Nier just trolling the rest of the world? Like, that's where I am right now. That is what's in my head. Are fans of this series, like, is Automata more of this? Is it? Are people enjoying this? What happened? What happened to gaming? I'm having like a midlife crisis over what a poor experience this is. The rest of the world has to be trolling me. Why are people enjoying this? Why did Square Enix give this guy more money to make a second fucking game? I don't get it. I'm mad about it.
So mad. You're so mad.
I'm mad about this. They gave this guy money to make another fucking game. I can only sell 5 copies of my book.
That's where the real hurt comes in, isn't it?
Yes! Her grandmother had lived a long, hard life, and it seemed like the bill was coming due. The time when her grandmother watched over Kaine was ending. Sooner than either of them had feared, the positions would be reversed. The next morning, Kaine came to the side of her grandmother's bed and took her wrinkled hand. Do I like Mass Effect or Dragon Age? I like the writing in Mass Effect and Dragon Age. I don't much care for the gameplay, especially in Mass Effect. The combat in Mass Effect pisses me off. But the writing is solid. Like, I can sit down and I can watch someone else play Mass Effect and Dragon Age and enjoy it. Playing them, I feel like they're very clunky experiences, but they're leagues better than this. Because I'm not just hitting X over and over again, reading the worst piece of emotional 14-year-old writing I have ever seen. And I've seen some bad 14-year-old emotional writing, and it came from me. Shut up, sweetie. The next morning, Kaine came to the side of her grandmother's bed and took her wrinkled hand. Grandma, you're sick. You need medicine. I'm going to the village. The old woman shook her head and tried to rise, but Kaine gently pushed her down. It's all right. I'll be fine. Her grandmother fixed her with a gaze that could melt steel. After what seemed an eternity, she finally lowered her eyes and sighed. Well, I don't like it, god damn it. But I guess I should quit being so stubborn and let you grow up. The old woman watched as Kaine strapped on her boots and made her way down the road to the village in a negligee, because that's how Kaine dresses. Hours later, as an unseen sun made its way across the dark and rainy sky, she was still watching. Kaine moved at a brisk pace, checking her pockets every few minutes to make sure the money her grandmother gave her was still there so she could buy some magic beans. Every noise caused her to spin on her heels, making sure she wasn't being stalked by a shade, or worse, Demo and his gang. But she encountered neither tormentors nor shades, and Kaine finally found herself at the entrance to the village. The few adults she could see glanced sideways at her, then muttered to each other behind raised hands before slinking away into the shadows. Her heart racing, Kaine took a series of rapid, shallow breaths and tried to calm herself. I have to prove myself. I have to help Grandma. I have to be strong. She chanted those words to herself over and over as she slowly made her way. Finally, her eyes settled on a rotund older woman who was angrily waving her hands in the air and telling anyone who could listen exactly what she thought of Kaine's presence. Hey, lady, said Kaine with bravado she did not feel. Where's the apothecary? The woman's flabby cheeks shook in bewildered anger. How dare this thing speak to me, they seemed to say, but Kaine saw that her eyes held a different emotion, fear. Yeah, we're both scared, lady. Trust me on this one. Which way? Kaine repeated. You know who the real fucking hero is right now? Whoever was in charge of translating and localizing this. Whoever had to go through this and translate this. I mean, they did a really good job as far as localizing this into a Western writing format. My hat goes off to them. And I feel like I should pour out a glass of drink for them, because I'm not drinking right now. I'm talking about the tragedy of someone who is clearly a talented writer and translator having to work on this. I love you too. Even though you made me do this. Is it? Is it okay? Do you not, get where I am emotionally with this experience right now?
Oh, I get it. I get it.
She's just laughing wickedly at me right now. This 1 second playthrough is where things start to get interesting and fun. What game did you play? What game is everyone else playing? This isn't good. No part of this is good. The first playthrough had some really well-designed boss fights. What about this warranted anyone giving it positive reviews, and even more than that, him ever getting to work again in the game industry? The woman pointed at a small building to her right before hitching up her dress and stumbling off in the other direction. Kaine cringed, expecting a stone to come flying from the assembled crowd, but none came. Abyss, I would advise you to not play this game. Please don't. Anyone who's watching this right now, I am begging you, for your own sake, listen to my voice right now. Listen to the pain that I am in. This is not a good game. Yoko Taro is clearly not qualified to touch a pen. Her mind was filled with a strange sense of pride as she made her way to the apothecary, but the new emotion had little time to take root, for as soon as she opened the door, she noticed a familiar customer at the counter. It was Demo. He'd clearly been sent here on some kind of family errand because his gang of followers was nowhere to be found. Oh my go, he sputtered. I mean, what are you doing here, freak? The insult was delivered without force because he was too busy staring at Kaine's tits. Kaine happily ignored it, stretching on tiptoes to see her over the counter. She asked the shopkeeper for the medication. Ha! Barked Demo. The old bitch finally keeled over. Go to hell, Demo. I'll shank your ass. The boy's eyes grew so wide they seemed ready to fall out of his head, but before he could let fly a comeback, or worse, a punch, the apothecary told them to knock it off before he kicked them out of the store. Demo slunk out of the shop, cursing Kaine under his breath. Once he was gone, she allowed herself to breathe once more, taking a brief tour of the shop while the owner prepared her medication. Countless tiny bottles filled the cramped store, each with a label written in some indecipherable language. An ocean of aromas assaulted her nose, creating a scent that was exotic but not altogether unpleasant. Seeing such a variety of supplies gave Kaine a sense of peace. Surely, in a world so vast, there would be a place that she could call home. On the far wall behind the counter rested a portrait of a stunning young girl. That picture had once contained bright, vibrant colors, but time had worked its magic, and they were beginning to fade. The beauty of the work, however, remained undiminished. You know what, guys? We're 45 minutes in. You know what we could be doing right now? We could have started Xenosaga, got through the 45-minute opening cutscene, and gotten to a save point in this time. I don't... Get ending B! It makes the game so much better! On the far wall behind the counter rested a portrait of a stunning young girl. The picture had once contained bright, vibrant colors. I already read this part. I'm not doing it again. You like that picture? And I turned to find the apothecary with a small vial of medicine in his hand. His eyes were gentle but sad, and they seemed to stare through her and into nothing as he spoke. Can we at least have art in the background, right? Because then it would be a visual novel and not a book. I'm not against reading. I would just prefer what I'm reading to be of half-decent quality literature. Not this tripe. That's my daughter. I sketched it when she was just a little girl. She's been dead a long time now, and that's so very tragic. Kaine didn't know how to respond. She just stared at the portrait and tried to come up with the right words. Cunt! Pictures are wonderful things, continued the shopkeeper. I'm sorry, that's just what Kaine would say, because Yoko Taro doesn't know how to write women. Pictures are wonderful things, continued the shopkeeper. They let the ones closest to you live on forever. He shook his head slightly, then looked down at Kaine and smiled, handing her the medicine. He reached into his sizable green apron and produced a handful of old wax crayons. You should have these! Look, it's a box of Crayolas so you can draw with colors! Kaine took an instinctive step back, causing the shopkeeper's face to darken. Yes, I've heard rumors about you, he said. It's a small village, and word travels quickly. Between you and me, I'm not sure which of them to believe, but I also don't think they matter much. I knew your grandmother, Kali, and I think the way she was driven out of this town is just deplorable. What with her throwing rocks at children? I mean, who is going to kick an old woman out of a town for throwing rocks at children? Grandma's name is Kali, thought Kaine suddenly. She was still mulling this new fact over in her mind as she reached out and gently took the crayons from the apothecary's hands. Your grandmother is an old friend of mine, he said as Kaine scooted away yet again, and I owe her much. I'm willing to wager that you would like it if you drew a picture of her with these crayons. Yes, I think she would like that very much. Kaine murmured a quiet agreement, but inside her heart was bursting. Never before had a villager treated her with anything but complete contempt. It was tiny, almost imperceptible step, but it was a step nonetheless, and with enough tiny steps, she might one day discover the rest of the world. When Kaine returned home, she found her grandmother asleep in her bed. Her feet were blackened and raw, even bleeding a bit in places, leading Kaine to think that she had been pacing around the room until exhaustion finally caught up with her. You know what, guys? Tangent. I need to tangent right now to just escape from this. Because I've had a pretty good day. The last time I streamed Nier was, I think, on... what was it? The 6th? I finished Nier on the 6th. It's been like 2 weeks since I finished Nier. And I've been playing Lord of the Rings, the Third Age, since then. And it was such a nice experience. And what I'm experiencing right now is causing me to look more favorably on every piece of literature I've ever read and didn't like. Go play some Third Age again, right? Oh, that's good? That's good that this is so bad that I'm willing to look at other pieces of literature and say, wow, this is actually much better than I thought it was. Silver linings. Okay. Perry is just a shining cloud of positivity right now. One of the most overrated pieces of literature I've ever read was The Old Man and the Sea. I did not care for The Old Man and the Sea. But now, I'm appreciating it a little bit more because it told a full and complete story. It had a beginning, a middle, and an end. It had true emotions experienced with it. It had struggle experienced with it. And it did it in half the fucking time as New Game Plus in Nier. Like, I mean, I shouldn't be playing a game waiting and hoping for it to be over. I'm so confused right now. I don't understand why I was pressured into doing this. He said he wanted me to, but he said he wanted me to do it because that it was the better part of the game. That ending B made... I'm trying, but there's no game here to play. It's just bad literature. And literature is being generous. Achievement unlocked for anyone who has lasted this long into today's stream. I want to be completely honest with you guys. Anyone who leaves right now, I will not blame you. Anyone who left this stream early, like, wow, this is shit. Like, I don't blame you. If you want to unsub,
No.
I don't blame you.
They're having fun.
They
They like it.
it's
It's okay. You're
There has to be drunken ramblings, because it's fucking more interesting than this. She placed the medicine by her grandmother's pillow and turned to leave, but found the old woman's hand clasped around her arm. Back already, are ye? Asked her grandmother with a yawn. Come here, let me have a look at you. Grandma sat up and examined Kaine from head to toe. Finally satisfied nothing terrible had befallen her grandchild, she leaned back and allowed herself to relax. How was it? Did those bastards give you any trouble? It was kind of fun, said Kaine with a small smile. People were mean to me and I got some crayons. No, seriously, it was. It was fun, was it? Asked her grandma in a voice which implied she believed anything but. So anytime you need me to run an errand, just let me know. As she spoke, Kaine removed the crayons from her pocket. After a brief explanation of their source, she informed her grandmother that she was going to sketch her portrait. A portrait of me? Ridiculous. No one wants to stare at a wrinkled old crone. But Grandma, it'll make you live forever. Horse manure, said her grandmother, throwing back the sheet from her bed. Living forever would just piss me off. It'd be like playing Nier. Now put those crayons away and help me with dinner. But Kaine would not relent, and in the end, Grandma found herself leaning against the wall of their house as if posing for a master artist. Perry moved my whiskey out of reach. I've just noticed she placed it on the other side of the room. Okay, I have it. I've retrieved my whiskey. Kaine took up the crayons and eyed her subject carefully. Just as her grandmother was about to nod off, Kaine finished the work. After staring at it for a bit, she released it from her grip and let it slowly drift to the floor. It's terrible. It doesn't look like you at all. I'm sorry, Grandma. I thought these crayons would, make drawing easy or something. The old woman's eyes narrowed at her granddaughter's disappointment. Let me be the judge of that. She spat drunkenly, ignoring the pain in her back and reaching for the paper. The sketch could have been a person's face. It also could have been a boulder, a lump of clay, or an incredibly misshapen loaf of bread, all rendered into chaotic array of colors. The old woman stared at the picture for a long time, then slowly wheezed out a laugh. Oh, Kaine, she said between the laughter, you truly are my blood. You're as clumsy as me, and I love it. But hush, I won't hear any more bull about how ugly you think it is. It came from the heart, and I'll treasure it always. True to her word, the old woman gave the picture a place of honor above the kitchen table. In the days that followed, Kaine would often catch her staring at the portrait with a strange smile on her face, an action she interpreted as silent, mocking laughter. A week later, Kaine could stand it no more. She asked her grandmother to take the artwork down. Posh, said the old woman. I'll take this down when they roll me in my shroud. She pondered this for a bit, then turned to Kaine and dropped to one knee. Listen to me, girl. Seeing this picture makes me happy in a way I've never felt before. And it makes me want to go on so that someday you can feel the same happiness. It was a moment that burned itself in Kaine's memory, a perfect blend of pride and love and joy that came together to form a lifelong remembrance. She swore to never forget this moment, to never forget the old woman who made her place in the world possible. Time moves on, people and memories come in and out of life like ghosts passing through a hall, but this moment will be different, Kaine swore, because I will remember it forever. Forever. Please, 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 please. Come on! God damn it! Oh, you can't tease me like that, game! Ugh. It's twice now. I thought it would be over, and it's not. And I just want it to be done. I just want it to be done. That has been 2 chapters of poorly written story with nary a game in sight. Perry's just sitting over there chuckling to herself. Kaine listened to the sound of crackling firewood and stared at the black object on her plate. She'd been pushing it around the wooden disc for a good 10 minutes, ignoring the bemused stare of her grandmother. Right? It hasn't even given me a save point. It's been 45 minutes of reading without a save point. If I had like a power, like a brownout right now, I would have to start this over. I would have to do this again. Why did anyone do this? Can you believe there's 4 endings? There's 4. I'm just working on ending B right now. There's more shit after finishing up this New Game Plus. There's 2 more New Game Pluses. No! Why? It's making the rest of the game look worse. And that's hard because I didn't have the best things to say. She'd been pushing it around. Don't you take my whiskey away. I need that. She took the whiskey again. She'd been pushing it around the wooden disc for a good 10 minutes, ignoring the bemused stare of her grandmother. Finally, she summoned her courage and gave the object a brief sniff. A sharp, bitter scent flew up her nostrils and made its home there, causing her face to twist with disgust. Kaine listened to the sound of crackling firewood and stared at the black object on her plate. She'd been... What? Oh, Grandma, I can't believe you want me to eat a bug. The old woman threw some more wood under the cooking pot and snorted. It's no bug, you fool girl. It's a berry. Why in the hell would I be feeding you bugs? Well, yeah, it sure looks like a bug, said Kaine, and I think it's burnt or something because it smells terrible. With that, Kaine held her nose and threw the berry in her mouth. Chewing as little as possible. Oh, yeah, that's terrible, all right. Why, you little brat, laughed the old woman. Look at the sass on you. You've been spending too much time with me, and that's a fact. 5 years had passed since the moment when Kaine's grandmother saved her from the bullies. As is often the way with 2 stubborn people, their relationship had grown in fits and starts, but moved forward all the same. Meals that used to be somber affairs were now filled with laughter and hurled abuse in equal measure. Kaine could not remember a time when she had been happier. As the years went by, Kaine started to shoulder more and more of the daily responsibilities. Her grandmother's legs grew weaker by the day, and she could no longer do many of the chores she used to take for granted. I would rather watch Batman vs. Superman, Zack Snyder's version, 5 times over. And King Madman, I wouldn't fault you for a moment. That movie seems like a breath of fresh air right now. As the years went by, Kaine started to shoulder more and more. Fuck, I'm just reading the same thing over again.
Well, you have fun with this. I'm gonna go consume something good. I'm gonna watch some Supernatural.
How come you get to go away and watch something fun while I have to do this? You told me to do this. You made me do this.
Mary's not my friend.
Are you not understanding like
Mary's
what
not my
I'm
internet
going
friend.
through right now? Then why did you take his side on this? What?
I don't know.
Why? What did I do to you?
Nothing. I just thought your reasons were silly.
Are they watching this? Do you think my reasons were silly for not wanting to do this?
No, I think you're perfectly justified in not wanting to do it, but you're gonna do it anyways, right?
I don't... She's like, no, you're totally justified in not wanting to do it. It's bad. It's just bad. Perry took Mary's side, and then watching this, she's like, no, I understand now. But you already started. I'm going to go watch something fun. And she took my whiskey. Woman! Bring it back. Am I going to drink it straight out of the bottle? Or are you going to bring me my glass? Yes, love.
Are you just gonna drink the entire bottle?
I'm not going to drink the entire bottle. Don't take the bottle away. It's the only thing that kills the pain. Damn it. I don't know that I can get through this anymore, guys. I have a pittance of water left. I need some water. Hang on. The Sound of Silence is going to be more interesting than what I've been reading. So, you're welcome that I'm going to step away and I'm going to get some water. Because that's better than this. Again, you're welcome. Oh man, are we doing Simon and Garfunkel now? That's okay. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to speak with you again. And the vision was a flash of a neon light that split the night within the sounds of silence. And then the people bowed and prayed before the neon god they made. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I forgot the words. Falco says, I don't know if I want to play Nier now. You are welcome, Falcos. Anyone that I have spared a playthrough of this game, I am willing to accept this pain. If you're watching this Let's Play and you're thinking, I don't want to play Nier, you're welcome. I will accept this sacrifice for your sake. Her grandmother's legs grew weaker by the day. She could no longer do many of the chores she used to take for granted, and so this morning found Kaine lacing up her work boots with a breakfast of burned belly rolling through her berry. No. Lacing up her work boots with a breakfast of burned berry rolling through her belly. Where are you going today? Asked Grandma suddenly. Kaine looked up, surprised. The old woman rarely asked for specifics anymore. Well, I was going to check out the kelma trees and see if they were ripe. I thought we could make some jam or something. Oh, and I'm going to pick up some flagstones, so I need to take the wheelbarrow. Flagstones? What in the hell for? Kaine stared at her grandmother, then held out an arm and swept it around their home. Constructed mostly of cloth, rope, and rubble, the old place sagged like a boxer in the final round. Grandmother, a dying cat could chew through this house. I'm going to build a stone wall so we have some protection. Can Nier be played on Xbox One? I don't know. I know that Nier Gestalt came out on the PS3 and the Xbox 360. I don't know where it stands backwards compatibility-wise. The old woman laughed, exposing her toothless grin to the world. Goddamn girl, if a bunch of thieves want to ransack this old place, let 'em come. We got nothing worth stealing anyway. I'm not worried about thieves, I'm worried about shades. People saw one west of the village yesterday. I can't feel my nose. Maybe it's better that Perry took the whiskey away from me, because I can't feel my nose. The old woman tilted her head and stared at her granddaughter. Well, shoot, I don't know why you have to do it today. We can worry about it some other. Grandma, no. If I don't go to the Kelma trees, we won't eat tonight. You know that. A confused expression passed the old woman's face, and for a moment she was a small child lost at a carnival. Yes, she said after a bit. Yes, you're right. I'm sorry, kinda. Lately it seems my mind is... She didn't finish the thought, instead walking over to her nightstand and gently taking the wreath of lunar tears from the drawer. The flower's petals had aged to a brilliant whiteness, and Kaine thought it was more beautiful now than the day she first received it. You're going to be a true woman soon, Grandma said, as she placed the flowers in the girl's hair. So that means less chatter about shades and building defensive walls, and more talk about how beautiful you've become. Annoyed, Kaine reached up to remove the garland, but the look on her grandmother's face stopped her hand. You're a beautiful thing, said the old woman, and there ain't another like you in all the world. I'm very proud of you. Okay, Grandma, that's enough goddamn compliments for one day. Such a mouth on you. Where did that come from? Gee, I wonder. I'll teach you to sass me, girl, yelled Grandma. Suddenly, she lurched forward and grabbed Kaine by the ears, pulling her around the room with a crazed grin on her face. Grandma, yelled Kaine in quaking voice. Grandma, stop it. What the hell? The old woman stared at her and blinked, then slowly held her wrinkled hands out as if it was the first time she had ever seen them. Oh, I don't know what happened there. I'm sorry, girl. Sometimes my mind just... Kaine thought the look on her grandmother's face was the most heartbreaking thing she'd ever seen. Listen, she began, maybe I should stay home after all. No, I won't have you stay here and keep an eye on an old codger like me. I almost called her cougar. You go get your fruit in your wall and whatnot. I'll be fine. When you come back, I'll have a nice grasshopper dinner waiting for you. Kaine rolled her eyes, then kissed her grandmother on the forehead and made ready to depart, trying desperately to ignore the worry that was gnawing at the walls of her heart. Kaine could feel the old woman's eyes watching her as she moved down the path. Don't turn around. Don't walk away. I don't want you to see my heart breaking. Just sit away. I don't want you seeing me crying. Ace of base. You're welcome, everyone. But in the end, the temptation was too great. She spun on her heel for one final look and saw a small, bent woman standing in front of a ramshackle hut with a sad expression on her face. God, she looks so old now, it's like the wind could reach down and just carry her away. Kaine worried about her grandmother all day, causing her work to suffer. What little fruit she could collect was tossed carelessly into the wheelbarrow, and she only found a couple of stones before losing interest in this project. Finally, as dusk approached, she decided to call it a day. Cursing herself for lack of focus, Kaine pushed the nearly empty wheelbarrow back down the path. As she crested the final hill, she suddenly froze in place. The wheelbarrow fell from her fingers and collapsed on its side, sending a few pieces of wrinkled brown fruit rolling back down the hill. Her gaze was transfixed by a thick black cloud that hovered just ahead. Tracing its path with a finger, Kaine suddenly felt her stomach knot in on itself. No. Oh gods. No. Her grandmother's house was ablaze, the flames licking up as if it was trying to touch the sky itself. Grandma? Grandma? Kaine ran then, faster than she had ever moved in her life. Once she tripped on a stone and went sprawling into the rocky ground, but she leapt to her feet and continued running, unmindful of the blood that spilled from her wounded hands and knees. As she got closer and closer, Kaine's mind began to race in time with her footfalls. It's too dark. It's too dark. Not just fire. Can't be fire. Too much smoke. Gotta save her. Gotta save her. She burst into the front yard and came to a sudden halt, her worst suspicions confirmed. The smoke from the fire was mingling with the thick, inky blackness of an enormous shade. The massive creature supported itself on 3 twisted feet and achieved balance through means of a large armored tail. Scales, horns, and claws sprouted from its body in random chaotic pattern, giving it the appearance of a lizard designed by some insane god. Seeing Kaine let out a roar and flicked its tail, sending small whirlwinds spinning around the yard. For a moment, the creature retreated into a shimmering, inky blackness, as if her mind was unable to comprehend that such a thing could actually exist. But then the smell hit her, a blend of rotted meat and excrement, and the horror became real once more. The creature bellowed again, and this time Kaine responded with a scream of her own. "All right, you bastard," she thought as her scream echoed off through the high cliffs around them. "It's you or me. Let's go." The shade eyed Kaine with bemused interest. Then it began looking from her to the house and back again, as if urging her to look at the destruction it had so gleefully wrought. With dread building in her heart, Kaine glanced toward the house, Through the smoke and flames, she spotted a small figure struggling to escape the ruins. "Grandma!" At the sound of her voice, the old woman began waving frantically. "She's alive," thought Kaine. "She's alive." Kaine's legs sprang to life as she raced. Once again, the only real standout here is the music. The music continues to be excellent. And all it does is it gets contrasted against how shit everything else is. "She's alive," thought Kaine. "She's alive." Kaine's legs sprang to life as she raced across the yard towards the flaming wreckage of the house. Before she could advance more than a few steps, It's not consistency. There's no consistency in the fucking writing. This is shit. The shade opened its mouth and let out a roar powerful enough to uproot trees and send them flying. Water. The blast sent Kaine tumbling through the air before smashing her against the rocky earth. Stars danced in front of her eyes as she tried to remember how her legs worked. Get up, get up, get up, get up, get up, yep, now! As Kaine struggled to her feet, the shade stomped toward the house and pinned her grandmother to the ground with the tip of her claw. The old woman struggled to move the claw from her stomach, but she might well have been pushing a mountain. She coughed briefly, sending a small spray of blood into the air, then collapsed on the ground, her energy spent. Kaine lurched to her feet, only to fall back to earth with a gasp. Her ankles were on fire. One or both of them were surely broken. Ignoring the pain that screamed through her body, she began dragging herself across the ground, leaving a drunken trail of dust and blood in her wake. Grandma! Hold on, just a little bit longer. Her grandmother's face was turning blue, her eyes rolling back until only the whites were exposed. Kaine pulled herself across the ground with maddening slowness, the distance seeming to increase with every second that passed. The shade glanced between the two women and flicked out its tongue, its giant mouth turning up at the corners. Short, panting breaths belched from somewhere deep within its core. Bastard, laughing at us. She had no idea how such a mindless creature could experience emotion, but there could be no doubt that the shade was taking joy in their suffering. Yeah, I see your plan. The shade moved its claw slightly, allowing Grandma to breathe again. It was clearly keeping her alive, only to snuff out her life when Kaine was close enough to touch her. I'm gonna kill this bastard. Summoning all her strength, Kaine rose to her feet. There was a sickening snap from her right ankle as the foot twisted backward, but she forced it from her mind and began to hobble toward the monster. Pulling a small knife from the pouch at her waist, she leapt on the foot that pinned her grandmother. A small knife from the pouch on her waist. She leapt on. Oh, okay, the shade's foot. She leapt onto the shade's foot that had pinned her grandmother and plunged the weapon deep. Live editing, you're welcome. Give her back, she screamed. Give her back to me. It was like stabbing a rock. After a few swipes, the knife broke at the hilt with a dull snap. The shade panted with laughter again, then raised its tail and sent it rushing through the air toward the young girl that was latched to its foot. Kaine never had a chance. The tail struck her square in the chest and sent her crashing into the burning wreckage of the home. As she lay on the ground with blood pouring from multiple wounds, a small, weak voice spoke up. Kaine? Kaine's vision blurred, but she forced herself to focus on the sound. Finally, her eyes cleared enough for her to make out her grandmother's hands reaching out to her through the smoke. I'm sorry, I'm catching up on chat right now, guys. He's close to being done with this part. He just needs to tough it out. Tough it out! Tough it out! Tough it out through an hour and 20 minutes of poorly written text. Tough it out. Would you ask somebody to tough it out through a full-length movie? I could have watched a movie in this time. I could have watched a movie. Like an actual fucking movie in this time. Tough it out. I'm sorry that the entirety of the movie is bad, but the sequel is okay. God. Officially time to ignore any suggestions Mary gives you on games. Yeah, that privilege has been lifted. Mary doesn't get to suggest anything to me anymore. Sadie Jane, what's up with you? What does this whole read have to do with gameplay? Is it going to give you a test at the end? It better fucking not, because it did that during the first playthrough of the game. And if you got the test wrong because you weren't paying attention, it started it over and then it changed the answers. It's just... I thought I wasn't going to do this either, Sadie, and I think that the correct thing to have done would have been to stick to my guns on not doing this. Because A, Mary told me there wasn't any more visual novel bullshit. That's a lie. That's just a lie, Mary. That's a lie. You're a liar. He complained to Perry about it. Perry whined at me about it, and here I am because I can't say no to Perry, although I'm going to be rethinking that stance. I'm just going to say no to everybody from now on. Whenever anyone suggests a game to me, I'm going to be like, no. You know why? Because the last time I listened to a game suggestion, I had to play Nier. That's what's going to happen. Somebody could recommend to me a game that cured cancer and dumped a harem into my house, and I'd be like, no, I don't trust you. I don't trust you because this could be another Nier. Oh, 15 beautiful women? Nope. There's potential for that to be Nier. All the money in the world, all of my problems solved. The last time somebody promised me something good, I had to play Nier. Abyss, don't try and turn this on its head by reminding me about Manichemia. Manichemia was a great recommendation, and I thank you very much for it. But Mary Mary, I hope you're listening to this. Mary has ruined game suggestions for everyone. Because if I had done this before Manichemia, you know what I would have done when Abyss had recommended Manichemia? I'd have said, no. The last time I listened to a game recommendation, I had to play fucking Nier. I've already played Skyrim. And yeah, Skyrim is definitely not Nier. But again, if I didn't already have knowledge of Skyrim, I would hear the recommendation, and all I would think to myself is the last hour and a half that I've had to spend tonight hitting X and reading tripe. Kaine's vision blurred. She forced herself to focus on the sound. Finally, her eyes cleared enough for her to make out her grandmother's hands reaching out to her through the smoke. Grandma? Kaine, you've got to run. You can't defeat him. Kaine grabbed the hands and held on with all her strength. Grandma, come on, we have to go. The old woman coughed loudly. One of her hands, slick with blood, slipped from Kaine's grasp and thumped to the ground below. Grandma, no. No, I said run, goddammit. You have to live. You have to get through this horrible fucking game that Square Enix was willing to bring this to the West, but not Dragon Quest X. I want everybody to think about that right now. They gave us Nier, but not Dragon Quest X. That's fucking insulting. That's insulting. They give us this shit, but not a quality game? What? What? Why? I'm so confused right now. I'm having like a midlife crisis over the quality of this game. It doesn't make any fucking sense. They would rather give us this than quality. It's offensive, is what it is. The thought would stay forever unfinished before she could say another word. The shade's clawed foot descended, smashing through the remains of the roof and down upon the shattered figure of the old woman. Blood oozed thickly from gaps in the creature's toes as the terrible putrid smell assaulted Kaine's nose once again. She stared at the foot, dumbfounded, convinced that what she was seeing could not possibly be real. When the creature finally lifted its appendage, all that remained underneath was a twisted, unrecognizable mass of rubble and red. Her grandmother was gone. Kaine blinked, trying to feel the hands which had been in hers just a moment before. For a fleeting instant, she could remember the warmth of that embrace, the trembling of the finger. You know what? Before tonight, and I'm being honest, before tonight, I was willing to give Automata a chance. That chance is gone. Nothing is going to get me to play Automata now. Nothing. I don't know what could possibly convince me to play another Yoko Taro game. This has moved beyond being depressed about poor writing. This has moved beyond disappointment. I'm just mad about it. I'm mad that this is what I'm doing with my evening. Okay? I have very limited amount of time to spend doing fun things between work and children and spending time with Perry and getting a reasonable fucking amount of sleep. And right now, I'm spending it on this. Our grandmother was gone. Kaine blinked, trying to feel the hands which had been in hers just a moment before. For a fleeting instant, she could remember the warmth of that embrace, the trembling of the fingers, but then the sensation drifted away on the breeze and was gone. Memories flashed through Kaine's mind, one after the other, faster and faster, until they became a meaningless jangle of noise. Kaine screamed then, a thunderous sound that echoed off the cliffs and seemed to roll away forever. The shade eased forward, black ichor pouring from its mouth and dissolving into smoke on the ground below. The earth shook with every step as it crept toward its prey. Kaine's body slowly rose as if controlled by a mad puppet master. Her arms and legs were bent at impossible angles. Her head lolled dangerously to the side, yet somehow she managed to stand. Staring at the shade, her eyes began to glow with a deep red fire. The creature, so confident just moments before, took a slow, hesitant step forward, trying to discern if this broken human could possible pose a threat. They didn't even take the could possibly pose a threat. Fuck, Square Enix. Kaine seized the moment. Fuck off, Tate. Laughing like a madwoman, she leapt into the air and plunged the shattered hilt of her knife deep into the leg of the shade. The shade shook Kaine off like a fly, sending her crashing to the earth once more. Her chest rose and fell slowly as if a great weight were resting on it. You know what would be great right now if I was fighting this boss? If I was fighting the boss. If I was playing through this. If they gave me a game that I was playing right now. I don't care if it's 3 hours of not combat. Give me a game. Dragon Quest 3, not 3, 7. Dragon Quest 7 managed to competently do 3 hours of no combat. Azarus asking, are we playing a game or reading a story? Dude, I don't even know anymore. I don't know how this got published. I don't understand anything anymore. I don't understand why Yoko Taro gets to still write. I don't understand why he gets to make games. My entire life doesn't make sense anymore because this steaming pile got a sequel. I don't... I'm going to lose sleep over this. I don't understand. I don't get why something this bad gets a sequel. Why does someone this bad of a writer, this bad of a game designer get a sequel and then get lauded as like a good writer? It's not. I don't... It's causing me actual physical pain to think about. I don't understand why. Like, it's not the writing that I don't understand. I understand the writing. I understand that it's bad. I don't understand what I did to deserve this. I mean, I've tried to be a good person. I'm 34 years old. I've tried. I mean, sometimes I fail, but I try every day to be a better person than the person I was the day before. And yeah, sometimes I fail. Sometimes I fail spectacularly, but I don't think that I have done anything in my life that deserves this. I don't... The shade shook Kaine off like a fly, sending her crashing to the earth once again. Her chest rose and fell slowly, as if a great weight were resting on it. Moist sounds of pain echoed through her mind. Something warm and thick oozed from her ears. Is that blood? I think it is. I think I'm bleeding to death. No, I can't die. Grandma told me to live. Deep inside Kaine's mind, something finally broke. Am I having a near-death experience? I don't know if that's properly funny, mate, but I appreciate it right now. Thank you. Deep inside Kaine's mind, something finally broke. The sound, the pain, the smoke and flames, all of it faded away until all that remained was a single incantation repeated over and over again. Kill it, 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 kill it. Break the disc, 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 As the spark that was Kaine slowly began to flicker and die, she felt her desire to kill and her desire to live blend into one. The distance between heartbeats grew stronger and longer and longer. Oh, thank God! Are we done? I don't like how women are portrayed in video games. Also, tits. Fuck you, Yoko Taro. You piece of shit writer. You are everything that is wrong with game design today. I hate you. I don't hate anyone. Hate is a very exhausting emotion. It's people aren't worthy of the emotion of hate because it takes up so much fucking time and effort. Am I gonna play now? Thank God there's a game here. I've forgotten how to play because I've been reading for so damn long.
What anger this creature must have. How did it even survive these past 5 years?
I don't even know what I'm doing right now. I remember this fight from the game.
Not the blade, but the skill of the user. Strike him down.
Oh, yeah, I remember how to dodge. That's something. I do have a fire pit outside, and you're right. I should burn this. I should burn this with the hopes that no one is ever coerced into playing such a piece of shit experience ever again. And I use the term playing. I use the verb playing. Very, why is it not working? God, you're a piece of shit game. I hate you. Like, it doesn't even matter what it does from this point. How long have I been on here? I've been live for an hour and 35 minutes, guys. A movie length of bullshit. This game could do anything, literally anything amazing at this point, and nothing it does would be worth what I've had to sit through tonight. Nothing at all. Like, I'm actually mad about this. There's nothing this game could do that could redeem itself now. Like, it could have just had, like, a fucking boss rush or something. Mary told me, there's those words again. Mary told me that oh my God, there's more fucking text! Gently, weakly, softly, the shade, sure that its tormentor was dead, turned and stomped off towards the horizon, stopping along the way to bellow one final word. It's been an hour and a half and I haven't had a fucking save point! Couldn't kill it. So sorry, Grandma. Couldn't avenge you. Shamed beyond imagining. I'm so glad I didn't try and play this morning. Kaine tried to turn her head to the side, but only... My throat hurts. My throat hurts from reading it. Only succeeded in coughing up a huge gout of blood. It was getting difficult to see, and only after a moment of fierce concentration did she realize that her left eye was gone. Laughing to herself, she turned her remaining eyes to the ruins of her home, and noticed a ragged stump of arm resting a few feet away. Yeah, that's mine, she thought with a mad giggle. This is gonna make clapping a real bitch. No, I'm not going to watch videos of Automata. Why would I give him the time of day after this bullshit? Automata doesn't deserve anything from me. It doesn't deserve a passing thought. Nothing about this series, nothing about the writer, nothing about the developers deserves any positive thoughts from me at this point. This is shit. This is tripe. Nobody should have qualified this as getting a sequel. Nothing should have come of this. This is an embarrassment. I am mad about this. I could have spent my evening rolling around in shit and cutting myself, and it would have been a more positive experience than this. "Ha!" cried a sudden voice from the depths of her mind. "Finally gonna die, are you? You had it coming." "Go to hell, Demo," she thought at the unseen assailant. "Go to hell before I pluck your eyes and feed them to a dog. Just give me a fucking save point. Give me a save point so I can do anything else with my day before I have to go to sleep and then go to work. Please." The voice of her childhood terror evaporated into smoke, only to be replaced by another, more recent voice. "Hold still," said the apothecary, materializing from the ruins like a fucking ghost. "I want to draw you. That way you can live forever." "No, stop. I don't want to live forever. I want to die right here." "I see," he said quietly. "Well, if that's how you want it." The spectral shopkeeper fluttered in and out of existence for a moment, then produced a piece of paper and sketched quickly. After a few seconds, he turned the page to Kaine and smiled. "Since you rejected my offer, I decided to draw someone else." It was a picture of her grandmother, real as life. Kaine opened her mouth to thank the man, but stopped as the picture began to blacken in the middle. Before she could say anything, thousands of multi-legged insects began to swarm across the image, tearing at it with sharpened pincers. You know what I would rather be doing right now? I would rather be doing 24-hour marathon of Silver Surfer on the NES. That's what I would rather be doing than this shit. That is a better game. This is bad. Why do people like this? Why? I don't understand. It just keeps going. It just keeps going. This is my own personal hell. This is my own personal hell. I'm in hell right now. I don't think that I've deserved this. The worst things that I've done in my life. I don't deserve this. No sleep marathon all through Mother games. I would rather be doing that. I'd rather be doing that. I would rather be on Mount Etoy without save states than this shit. I would rather have every enemy in Earthbound have the mushroom debuff spamming it on me than this. How's it going, Saigan? Soccer. I don't... This hurts. It's so bad. I'm mad. I am in physical pain about this. I want to be doing anything else. I have never, ever been so angry at a gaming experience. Because it's not even that. It's just, it's disappointing from like every angle. Every angle. The writing is bad. I don't have anything positive left to say about this game. When I finished ending A, I had positive things to say. I had positive things to say at the end of ending A. And Mary was like, "No, you have to get ending B. You have to get ending B. You really have to get ending B. Ending B brings everything together. Ending B is the most important ending to get." I was like, "No, I'm not going to fucking do it because the first part of the game wasn't worth playing through the game again." And Perry talked to him about it. And he convinced Perry to convince me. And here I am on a Wednesday night, and I have lost an hour and 42 minutes of my precious life as a bug on a piece of rock hurtling through space, who will probably not live to 100 years of age because that's rare. And I have lost more than an hour of my life doing this instead of anything else. Anything else at all. it's not... Dude, if you want to watch that ending, feel free to go watch it on YouTube. The only reason that I'm here right now is that I told Perry I would do it. Because she asked me to. And that's it. And that, I think, speaks volumes to how much I love her and how much I'm willing to do for her. Because nobody else would be able to convince me to keep going right now. And here I am, and I'm still going. I don't make wishes. They don't come true for me. I'm a curse. I'm a freak. I should be left to die. The other voice boomed in her ears. Wah ha 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 ha. Oh God, you are the best. Kindly glanced down and saw a black shiny substance oozing from her legs. She tried to brush it away, but her remaining arm would no longer respond. The substance slowly crept towards her feet and then slowly began moving up towards the rest of her body. Is this death? Is this what it's like? Or is my mind just losing itself? She could feel the slime oozing upward, feel the hot, searing pain it left in its wake, whatever else might be happening. She was still alive, and this was real. Come on, said the voice, let it go. Kaine tried to ignore the voice and concentrate on the pain, but the newcomer would have none of it. Don't ignore me, Sunshine. You're ready to give up, ready to die. Why not let me have it? Have what? Your body. Come on, give it to me. Give it to me. I want to stand on the ground, feel the rain, taste the wind. The voice paused as if licking its lips. When it resumed, it was filled with mad, unabated joy. I really do, Firewolf. I love the shit out of that woman. No one else on this planet could take away my whiskey and make me play this and still have my love for her. The voice paused as if licking its lips. It's still going. And I want to take your hands and use them to choke the goddamn life out of people. I want to tear out their throats and bathe in the blood, just like before. In response, Kaine shifted her head and vomited. The warmth of it crept down her front and mingled with the pain of the encroaching black ooze. Are you a shade? Ka-ha-ha-ha-ha. Yeah, maybe. What of it? Which doesn't make any sense, because the shades are just supposed to be the souls of people who are trying to get their bodies back. But this game doesn't even understand the old fucking backstory that it has for itself. The slime reached for her face, crept up past her nose, and slowly oozed into the socket of her missing eye. The moment it touched her brain, Kaine was struck by the most powerful sensation she'd ever felt in her life. It was ecstasy. She wanted to scream with delight, but all she could manage was a small, whispered moan. Feels good, don't it? Asked the voice with a chuckle. Yeah, what can I say? I know how to please the ladies, and this is as close as Yoko Taro has ever gotten to his dream of writing porn. Give me that body. Come on, give me the body, and I'll give you more of this feeling. It's a fair trade. A black lump began to protrude from Kaine's side as she walked. Don't do this. I tried. Reconnection. Successful. Oh my god, it did reconnect. Oh my god, it actually reconnected. We're back, and I'm not even sure if that's good or bad anymore. I used to get excited when we'd get reconnected, but no. No, I'm not. I'm not tonight. No, that was not me, guys. That was whatever gods dwell in these lands trying to tell me something. I'm going to take a short break. I need to pee. I need to pee. I need to pee. I need... And I'm back. Soccer says, quote, and Saigan at the moment went to the bathroom and thought about what his life had become. Why am I doing this? He asked himself. What does my life mean if Nier is my downfall? Do I continue the pain and torture, or do I just end it here? Boom! Give Soccer a fucking game deal. In 10 seconds, he wrote better prose than I have seen all night. And that's it. That's all that I have to say about this game now. Any positive aspects of this game have been leached away. I don't even want to think positively about the music anymore because the rest of the experience has poisoned any quality that was left in this. This game doesn't deserve anything positive spoken against it, and I regret talking about the good boss design. I regret talking about the good music. It doesn't deserve it. It is an insult. And honestly, I'm sick. I am physically ill from having to play this right now because it is bad. It's just patently bad. It is now the worst game that I have ever played in my life. And I played the X-Men game from JLE on the NES. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad, but that's game of the year right now. I can't remember the name of the company. They had that licenses for a lot of the toys. They did the Back to the Future games on the NES, and those weren't good. It's still going. It's still going. I'm not reading this anymore. I don't deserve to have to deal with it. You guys don't deserve to have to deal with it. I want a save point. It's just going. It's still fucking going. Give me a save point. Oh, he has a name. That's something. I can read really fast, by the way, guys. Better than Superman 64? Superman 64. Game of the year compared to this shit. It's bad. This is bad. It's bad. It's bad. If you think that Nier is a decent game, if you think that there's any positivity in this game, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're not just wrong. I'm sorry. You're an idiot. That's the nicest thing I have to say about you. This is shit. If you think that this is good, if you think this is a quality game, unsub. I'm not joking either. Oh, I got a trophy for putting up with 2 hours of bullshit. Thanks.
Kaine, you gotta live. You gotta come back to us.
Emil, you were the one calling me, huh?
You still recognize me?
Yeah, sure. I knew you right away.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Kaine.
You look like shit.
That matches the writing, sweetheart.
How long has it been?
5 years.
Felt like it. Felt like 10, really, if I'm being honest. I feel like I need to throw up. That's not the alcohol speaking.
Oh. That's a long time.
Oh God, there's more text. There's more text.
Any luck with Yona?
We are still no closer
Hey,
to
look, it's
finding
story that
the
we've already seen.
for you.
Lunar tears.
Just a little welcome.
I don't
Nothing like
care.
the one
I
in
don't
the
care. I'm done. I'm done. I'm going to do the bare minimum amount of work to get through the rest of this game.
This doesn't make sense.
Please, people are tired.
It's crap.
It's okay. We can.
No one, you and kinda.
People are as long. Right.
I'm used to
We already did this.
What is the matter?
Kaine always sleeps outside. How could I? What the hell?
We should.
Give me a save point. Just give me a save point. Just give me a save point. Just let me skip this. Give me a save point. 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 Please give me a save point. Give me a save point. You sick fucks. Give me a save point. Jesus Christ, none of the buttons are skipping this. Oh god, it's a loading screen. That's something I haven't seen in a while because you don't have to load text. It's 2 hours. 2 hours. 2 hours without a fucking save point. Oh my god. Oh, look at that. I can move around. I can move around. The controller does a thing. I'm playing a game again, boys. Get hype. Jesus fucking Christ. Just give me the safe one. Oh god, there's 2 analog sticks. Imagine that. I'd honestly forgotten because I've been in hell for so fucking long. Oh my god. Oh my god. Is this what release feels like? Let's release. Let's release. We're done. We're done tonight. We're done tonight. I don't know that I'm gonna stream again tomorrow, guys. I honestly don't fucking know because this has made me rethink my entire life. I don't like gaming right now. I don't like video games. I don't like the fact that this game got a sequel. I don't like that this same company that published Nier publishes Dragon Quest. The last 2 hours has been such a negative experience. I don't want to think about holding a controller right now. So, I'll see you guys later. At some point, maybe. I don't know. I hope you all have wonderful lives, and I hope that you never, ever have to deal with anything as bullshit as this. Fuck Yoko Taro. Fuck Square Enix for releasing this game. This is terrible. This is one of the worst experiences of my life. I've had a gun pulled on me. I've been in a rollover with my son in the back of the car. It's not as bad as those. It's in the top 5. It's in the top 5. It's that bad. It's that bad. I'm shaking right now because it's that bad. Good night.